Hey, greetings, everybody. It's Bob Rivers here, and I'm back. Yeah, we're going to do a podcast. We call it a pop-up podcast now, which is a shortcut for I'm lazy. But I'm not really lazy. I was getting a bunch of medical treatments, and I was kind of out of it for a couple months. I'm back, and things are pretty good. I'll blog about it. I'm not going to bore you with it. Tonight, it's a reunion with Zipfel and Ed Kelly, two of my dearest friends in all of broadcasting. Between Zip, Ed, Spike, and Joe, and then a whole bunch of other people who I don't have time to mention, I'm just so blessed. So let's welcome Zip and Ed back to the podcast here.
Wonderful to be here, Robert.
Yes. Good to see you, Zip. I see you still have the same blurry vision camera. We're going to fix that for next time.
It's coming through a VHS tape, I think.
Zip looks like he's in a basement, which he is.
I am. That naughty pine look.
And even though the lighting,
around.
Yeah. I was going to say, even though the lighting has a sort of a serial killer feel, he's the nicest guy.
Let's get back to you're taking pot shots.
He's the nicest guy in the world, and we have a jingle that says that. Yes,
I told you he was feeling better, Ed. I can tell when he feels better.
I think that noon hour at the pool is doing him wonders.
Yes. Zip was my co-host at WAAF from 1981 to 86, in some of the heyday of rock radio and rock and roll. Because at that time, Boston was as big as Seattle got in the 90s. It was Aerosmith, Talking Heads, Cars, Jay Giles Band. And Zip was, Zip was my main musician friend, played drums on all the Twisted Tunes. And anyway, for anybody that doesn't know, just a refresh on who you are. And Ed Kelly is one of the leading voice talents in the country who does a million voices and is just also a really beautiful human being. Ed and I never got to work on a show together except for this podcast, but he worked for the American Comedy Network. And you've heard him do national. What's the biggest national spot you ever did?
Lincoln campaign for a couple of years.
Lincoln, like
for the
Abraham Lincoln when he was running for president?
No, the car.
Oh, the car of Lincoln. Yes.
The badge. It's Detroit. Remember?
That's right. Ed hails out of Detroit. Zip is in the Boston Metro, I will say. And anyway, it's good to have you guys back. We haven't really talked a lot. Ed and Zip and I do a weekly show on a Worcester radio station. It's a cool rock station. Ed, how have you been? All right.
Me?
So,
how have I been? Really?
Well, when we before I got the whole side effects from the chemo and lost touch for a couple of months, you had been through a very traumatic event, which you talked about a little on the podcast. You had stopped to help someone who was passed out, and I think you performed CPR, and this guy died in your arms, and it made you depressed for quite a while.
It sent me back on my heels.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't drive home. I said to the officer, is there a hotel nearby? Because I'm just in no shape to get home. And I hadn't been drinking. I was just my legs were shaking. I was drained. And you don't really want to take to the highway and endanger people when you're in that condition.
Yeah.
And then I lost my on-air partner from the 90s shortly after that. So Kenny Calvert passed away. And then, there's been a series of things that kind of gut punches that
here's something I want to say to you. When I go, don't give a shit. Don't give a shit. It's not worth it. And I had a great time. Oh boy, I'm probably going to depress him. All right. The other thing.
You sound like half my exes. I'm going out that door.
So
don't care.
How's Lizzie, by the way?
She's good. She's very good. She's learning rigging, lighting, how to control video walls for music shows and that sort of thing.
Right.
So, yeah, I did wire work, and it's scary. So when she's got a harness on.
Right. Lizzie is Ed's 14-year-old girlfriend.
Oh.
I'm kidding. That was Steven Tyler.
I'm not Steven Tyler.
No, Lizzie. But you have, is it, what do they call it? May, December zip? What's the proper phrase? Because people, by the way, they ask me about that. Like
they do.
Like recently, we haven't been on for months, and someone goes, "Boy, that Ed, where does he find them? How does he?" And I'm like, "No, they're really in love. They're a couple." And it's like Summer Masick and Steve Fossen, were a quarter century apart or whatever it was, and so now it's like we're gonna have, by the way, on the show, comedian and keyboard player. Actually, she plays 12 instruments. Chase McNinch, and she's trans. And I'm like, I've never met a trans person before. Or, I mean, I've seen them. So I'm a little like on edge about that, but I'm also very curious.
I do theater. I work with trans.
Yeah. So this is like you guys have more experience with different kind of human beings than I do. I forgot what I was.
And to them, and to the generation coming up, it's really not that big a deal.
It really isn't. No, it's just old farts who watch cable news, isn't it? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you two out by name.
In our upbringing, it was unfamiliar,
Yes, that's right. That's right. I remember when I was a kid, I was like the parents would talk about the blacks.
Yeah, are those people
in New Haven? And when I got my driver's license, my dad would go, "Don't you ever go anywhere near Whaley Avenue?" And I was like, "I can't wait to get to Whaley Avenue. What is that?"
Stay up the good.
Yes. And then later, I actually was on the air in Seattle one day, and I was telling the story, and I was saying, you know what? I really need a black friend. Would you please be my black friend? And this guy
moved to my part of town.
Yes. Well, you have no trouble, I'm sure. But this guy called me up, and his name was Rick the Bouncer. And he was the bouncer at a club called Oz, which was a club for underage kids. And he has the sweetest heart and a concealed carry permit. And
I have one.
Yeah. Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Is it on you now?
No, but if you go out with your sidearm, you have to have it on you.
Yes. Okay. So anyway, back to you and Lizzie. No, seriously, just last week, someone was like, "That Ed." And I'm like, "You're just jealous of him, maybe a little." And
I do get that. There is a lot of envy.
But when you and Lizzie came out and met us in Vermont, I was like, "Oh, yeah, this is perfect." So I'm happy to hear she's doing good. She's a roadie, basically, right?
But she's kind of ascended that because the owner of one particular logistics company and his wife have kind of taken her under their wing because they're just really highly impressed with her work ethic.
She's moving up in the music production world then.
Yeah, because she shows up for everything. Yeah. And she's the first one to get there and the last one.
When we first met her, she was in the legal cannabis industry. She was a
bud tender for a time.
By bud tender, not like serving you bud over a bar.
No.
She was basically trimming and harvesting the plants, right?
Which was an extension of her kind of earth mother hippie, botanist side.
And earth father hippie, Ed, you and her still enjoy. And by the way, I can't say anything about the THC world now because I've used it medicinally. Right. And I found out by accident that it also made you feel good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and apparently it hasn't gotten me calling my cocaine dealer or drinking a fifth of vodka yet. But
it's not a gateway drug, man. I wish they could. Yeah. I wish they would call on another prohibition and just make marijuana legal.
Amen to that.
I would be fine with that. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's good to see both of you. Let's talk about something. And I know you guys, you watch the politics. I can't wait till our guest comes on because Chase says she hates identity politics. And is there any other kind? because we all have an identity.
Well, there is a kind where you talk to that Howard Stern guy, when I did that, went down to Avenue.
Oh, that's right. Joe Biden, welcome to the show. Joe.
Thank you, Bob. It's a pressure to be here.
Sure.
And
so was it last week you did go on the Howard Stern show?
Yeah. And I think half of Manhattan is still pissed at me because, it's gridlock whenever I go there. You can't get down to the deli, You just have to kind of wait it out like Jilly does, for me.
How did you get there, by the way? You didn't walk, did you?
No, Air Force One.
Air Force One landed.
Yeah. The stairs I run up, I don't always make it, but I run up that plane, the big bird.
By the way, I love the move because I don't know if you know the story, Zip and Ed, but you could pop in and out of character. They can fucking see you. So I don't know if you know this story, but Howard, and I haven't heard Howard in a long time, but I've been a big fan over the years. He desperately wanted Hillary Clinton to be on his show in 2015. You know that story in the run up to the election, 2016. He thought that if he could humanize her, he could make the difference and she would win.
And I think he's right.
I think it's a possibility for sure.
Possible.
Yeah, but I haven't seen her humanized by anybody. But if anyone could do it, Howard could do it because he's maybe the greatest interviewer on the planet. Do you ever listen to Howard, Zip?
I did for a minute, honestly. I got a total transparency. Number one, I guess I was working too much to hear him, actually, quite honestly, But I just, he pushed the envelope as far as, shock radio, I think. He set the bar.
So what I'm hearing you say is once they started charging $9.99 a month, I'm out. I only watch free stuff.
No, I'm talking way back.
And by the way, I thought he was a terrorist. I, as a radio host, was afraid if he came into my market and held a funeral for me, he used to be quite the bully.
Ruthless.
Shock jock, he's not the same person. He's the same person with decades of therapy and
highly evolved.
Yeah. In fact,
therapy 3 times a week.
His fans from those days think he sold out, but he's brilliant now. And if you could find a way to borrow someone's Sirius XM password, you really should. Anyway.
Not only that, they have the app for your phone so you can listen on your phone.
That's right.
And you can also get it on.
And I'm not subscribing now. And you know why I'm not subscribing? Well, first off, I love terrestrial radio, my friends, and I feel like I'd be abandoning them. But also, I had 2 lifetime subscriptions when they used to sell those. And I forget what they charged. I think it was like $500 in lifetime. And I thought that meant my lifetime.
Yes. And what happened?
Well, what it meant is as soon as you sell your car, it goes with the car's lifetime. And each time I would get a new car, I would be pissed. And I would call them and I would be the angry consumer. And they would say, well, we can transfer it to another car one time only for $75. And then it became $150. And then I realized, the one time only was actually, they probably still do it if I called up and I was willing to spend an hour. But anyway, Howard Stern, perhaps the greatest interviewer on the planet, one of the great radio guys of all time, influenced me a lot, even though I didn't want to do shock radio. He has a way of being emotionally honest that I aspire to, that we all aspire to. And he's been fearless at it. So had he interviewed Hillary Clinton, would it have made a difference? He had Biden on. I didn't hear the whole segment. I heard some clips from it. Biden said, I'll debate Trump. Did you listen to the whole thing?
I caught I would say 3/4 of it. I just missed the beginning.
Okay. So tell me more.
Well, he has said that more than once. If I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that. I don't have a cough switch for this high buck setup.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
But
he has said, wait a minute, Biden has said more than once that he would like to debate Trump, but it only made news when he said it with Howard.
Yeah, that he would, debate him. And the problem is that I don't think Trump would take him up on it because he couldn't hold up on the policy end of things.
Oh, wow. That's
supposedly there's 3 debates scheduled, but neither party has agreed to do it yet. They've been,
and I think the court cases are interfering as well, making it difficult. I don't think Mr. Trump is getting a lot of sleep.
You guys watch so much liberal media. I think the opposite. I think he's a shoo-in to be your next president, by the way. And I think you better give yourselves a Trump derangement syndrome enema and just get used to the idea. So, and
I think Howard moved the needle with that interview.
Well,
I think he did.
Here's what I do. By the way, I'll say positive and negative things about both sides because I hate them all. I think that Biden is best when he's funny. When he makes fun of himself, when he's self-effacing,
self-deprecating,
yeah. At the correspondents' dinner the other night,
White House correspondents.
Yeah, dinner, he said,
hilarious.
Actually, the comedian, what was his name? Colin Jost.
Yeah.
Yes, the guy on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, he's getting roasted, but I thought he did from the clips a good job. He said something like, "I don't want to say that both of these presidential candidates are old, but." Somewhere Jimmy Carter is looking at this going, I think I have a shot. I could win. Biden has made fun of himself for being old, which I love. I actually think John Stewart should be his campaign manager, and Biden should refuse to talk about the issues because there is no way to substantively get into the issues with the attention spans that exist in today's humans. And and really, it's worse now, but it has always been such. And so, I think that's the key. But anyway, your thoughts on all of this, each of you, because I don't care that much who wins. I know, and it's terrible, but I know you do. So you're rooting for Biden like a sports team trying to get into the playoffs.
No. I don't think that I personally can affect anything. I don't even have a vote.
That's right. You're a Canadian.
Country.
Yeah.
So I can't do a darn thing. And I have more conservative friends than I do liberal.
That's right. Frankly, you're on the Mitch Albom show.
Well, it's a talk radio show. It's a conservative talk. Yeah. They've just changed the brand to All Talk.
All Talk.
So. You guys are all talk, but they do tend to come down on the right, as does a large portion of the audience, given the demographic and all that. But, what I say
angry
or do
people,
means it tinkers down.
Angry people listen longer. It's just a known fact.
Well, that's Stern's secret, right?
Yeah.
That's why
I was going to ask you that, Bob. You were mentioning he was a great interviewer. Didn't he cross-examine his guests frequently, let him into difficult territory?
You're talking about the old Howard Stern. You should actually read his book.
Maybe I am. Yeah.
He made them uncomfortable. By the way, David Letterman had that early in his career. He made his guests uncomfortable and he would roast them and he would get great press for it. But it didn't make you want to be on with him.
They couldn't book after that.
Yeah. So, David evolved. I like to think I'm evolving a little bit. We all evolve if we're lucky and try a little bit. So,
Bob, exactly.
How
do I ask this, Paul? Ask him how he's evolved, Dave.
Yeah. So anyway, but see, that's branding. Zip still thinks shock, mean to everybody.
And he played back clips from television of various journalists doing exactly that, like Andrea Mitchell going, she went out, of all things, the Howard Stern show. It's a very kind of not clean show, but it's very squeaky clean by comparison.
And now he's kind of nice to everybody. He doesn't have strippers on, or porn stars anymore, does he?
I don't think he's above that, but I think if Stormy Daniels showed up on Avenue of the Americas,
of course,
I'd like to Yeah.
He interviewed the hooker who took down the governor of New York. What was that guy's name again? You remember who I'm talking about? He was the attorney general and then the governor, and he paid a high. No, it wasn't Cuomo. It was, oh shoot, what's his name? And he was a high-end call girl service. And what's funny is I'm too scared to do anything that I could even fantasize about because that's me. But I had to look up, like, well, what is high end? What's the price? And
well, you got the full girlfriend experience.
Well,
which is $1,000.
The price was
not that I've looked into that.
$5,000. And I thought, wow. For $5,000,
you got to do the dishes.
What would it would have to be really good because I can take care of myself in 5 minutes, and I've still got
that's TMI. Bro.
Yeah, I've still got $5,000.
Can we snip that one out?
No, we don't have to. So anyway, so Biden, he's showing signs of being funny. Trump is the trial hurting him? Not from everything I hear from all of my conservative friends. They just want a Republican in the White House. They don't care who it is right now because it would have to be Trump. And they believe that if you don't vote for Trump, you are destroying America because Biden's running it into the ground with liberal spending policy. And by the way, that's true. We are spending too much money.
They're known for tax and spending. Yeah. And then we just print more.
And then today or yesterday, Biden, and again, I read news articles and papers I subscribe to. I don't watch.
Not the Washington Post, I hope, because they're hopelessly.
They're all hopelessly. You have to read a variety of sources, like 6 or 7 sources, and read each one as if you don't trust it at all. Mm-hmm. And then come to Zip. You've asked about this. How do you know what's true? To me, that's the only way. There is no one true source.
So hard to divine now. Who wants to do that amount of homework?
Well,
the average Joe.
It isn't too hard if you remember that everybody's fighting over power and money.
Yeah, but even and NPR is committing the sin of omission when they're giving theirs, and then everybody brings a bias.
Well, each media outlet is appealing to its core audience because that's the business they're in. Subscription.
That's why I've got NYT on my phone and have to have that monthly coming out.
And so anyway, back to I laugh at this whole Trump thing because unless they throw him in prison, even if they throw him in prison, imagine the inauguration in prison.
It's not out of the realm.
I mean, I have to commend God because this universe is the best reality television show ever.
I do think this current spending all this time in court has turned into a psychological timeout for him, though. I think he's losing a little bit of fire. I do, mentally, on top of.
How much fire would he have to lose to win an arm wrestling match with Joe Biden?
That's very true.
I mean, but 2 worst candidates of all time. And that's what I said in 2016. Anyway, that's politics. I hate it.
And Haley's no longer in the picture. They just no.
All right, let's talk about something else. Let's see. This was interesting to me. Being retired and lazy, I watch a lot of streaming television with my wife, Lisa, and it's really,
I know you do.
And I spend all day doing her honey-do list because for so many years, like almost however many, 35 years doing morning shows, I was working from waking to sleeping. Even if I was pretending to be with her, I was thinking, how could this be good for the show? And now I just love I'm like her pool boy and, handyman. And anyway, we have a good time. And in the evening, we watch a show. And we're in a kind of a weird time now. There are some good shows, but all of streaming TV, all of TV is struggling with a contraction and a consolidation, much like we experienced in radio. And, you know, it happens in every industry that gets bloated and in debt. Paramount just fired their CEO today. Showtime is part of, what are they part of now? Max? No, HBO is part of
HBO.
So they're all combining. In the end, there'll be 2 or 3 major players. But anyway, we watch shows, and we've been watching. I got to say, Netflix is the clear winner because they have the most subscribers, they make the most original programming, and they're just brilliant at the algorithm of telling you what you want to watch next.
Yeah. But the trailers that constantly float by as you're sitting there, you hit one.
So, and also, if you want to be friends with people and talk about shows you have in common,
you got to do it.
If you talk about a show that's on Apple TV, Zip will look at you and go, "I'm not paying for Apple TV."
You watch Apple TV.
You do? Oh, you have. Yes. Do you own an Apple device?
Yeah, I have an old iPad Air that doesn't work.
Okay. You pay, wait a minute. Wait a cotton pick a minute. You pay to subscribe to Apple TV?
She does.
She does.
Or she shares it actually with her daughter. So we get
hey, you can't say that.
but hold on. That was Netflix's business model. That's how they got to be number one.
Yep.
And now Paramount is about to crack down because other ones don't crack down because they need the audience. So anyway, watching Netflix a lot, and there's a show. Oh God, was this on Netflix? I hope it might have been on Apple TV. Let's see if any of you have seen it. It's called Ripley. 99% it's on Netflix.
Can you give me a synopsis?
Well, no. I don't want to give
because
anything
he does
away.
That to me all the time on the show every week. Have you seen this? No, I haven't. Well, I'm going to ask you questions about it that you can't answer.
Because I hate to spoil a film. I mean, I will. If you want me to spoil, I will.
So it's just a film. It's not a series that you've marathon.
It's like a limited series. Right? My favorite thing is an 8-episode limited series now. And I know
perfect length.
Yeah, and I know it's a way for Netflix to save money, but it's also a way for me not to be stuck watching 5 seasons.
It'll steal your life.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ripley, I will tell you, it's about a con artist because that you'll figure out very quickly. But the thing about Ripley, and I'm not even going to talk about the plot. The thing about Ripley that's amazing is that it is in black and white. And when I first saw it, there's a part of me that views black and white as, hey, Lucy, hey, Ricky, that everything in black and white is old and forgotten. And so I thought, wait a minute, this is brand new. It was made in 2023 or 24. Who made the decision? Nah, color is overrated. Let's do it in black. And so at first I was kind of skeptical, but I have to tell you, watch this show. If you think, black and white, I wouldn't like that. There is something about black and white in 4K. Mm-hmm. Everything, look at Zip's picture now. He's basically just the beginning of color television. That is the resolution.
He looks like a Kandinsky.
Yeah. Well, we're getting you a better camera. Anyway,
I've really missed this.
Yes, you have. Me too. So anyway, we started watching it because it looked interesting and it's incredibly well done. But the cinematography in black and white is what it just blew my mind. I've never seen, it's almost like when I saw color for the first time. Because I've never, do you have a favorite black and white current movie?
Current movie? No.
No.
But I did watch, I did see a couple of episodes, but the problem is I gnawed off halfway through. So I did see the con artist thing.
So you saw Ripley? A little bit?
Yeah, I saw a 1.5 episodes.
I got to start over.
I will.
Zip, black and white. What comes to mind?
Lilies of the field.
Okay, I was going to say Gilligan. So, all right, I was close. Anyway, there were a couple of things about this. One, the black and white, and the other is because I spent a little time with my son Keith talking about modern filmmaking. He can watch a film and tell you what was CGI generated. Like in the old days, to set up a shot, and Zip, you know this because you're in this business, the lighting, the focus, what's in focus, what's blurred. Like my camera, by the way, Zip, which you're going to have one of these soon. You see how the stuff behind me is blurred?
Yes.
The depth of field goes out of focus.
Yes.
So anyway, when I'm watching this high def black and white, I'm watching this stuff and I'm going, wow. They have a scene, and I don't want to tell you too much about the scenery and the location. It's just astounding. But they have this scene through like an old Italian stone archway, and out in front of you is the ocean, and there's these dark thunderclouds moving in with lightning and little ripples on the waves, and it's lit a certain way. And I'm watching it and I go, that scene, which would have taken forever. I mean, you had to pick the right day. What's the chance of thunderstorms today? And right. That scene is probably CGI.
Matted in.
And throughout this whole movie, I'm like, they're taking me back to black and white, which used to be, McHale's Navy, Gilligan, and all of those shows.
Oh, Magoo.
Leave it to Beaver.
You've done it again.
But it's incredible now, and the filmmaking is some of the best I've ever seen. And the story is, I don't want to say too much about the story, but it's...
Did Keith happen to mention whether he thought they were using vintage cameras or not?
He hasn't, but Keith drools over $100,000 lens, because he can see the difference.
Optics are everything to a filmmaker.
At this point, my ears and my eyes are low def. You have to really get an out of focus camera for me to notice it. Hi, Zip. No, I'm kidding. But I appreciate I appreciate quality, even though I can't really see it as well. So anyway,
he looks like a Barbara Walters camera. Get the Vaseline on the one.
And I don't know if AI was used for any of this. Has AI affected any one of the three of us personally?
Big time.
Yeah.
You, Zip.
Yep.
Zip, you first.
Well, number one, I see it used now. The term AI is used in every bit of marketing for any kind of electronic device. All of a sudden, it's AI. And oddly enough, just this past week, I was using, I was trying to create a still photo, and I logged on to one of the AI graphics, generators, and I think I did 96 different renditions of what I asked it to do. And it honestly looked kind of fake, and it didn't really do it as well. It was like, I was kind of really buoyed by the fact that it didn't work that well.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I'm a human being. I still got it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you still need somebody at the helm, I think, to make the decision. But, from an audio standpoint, another thing, in Premiere Pro, this editing software I use, they put some kind of, again, they call it AI, but they put some kind of a thing into the audio track where it literally mixes it itself. It gets rid of room noise. I mean, usually you can hear artifacts. This thing really, really sounds good. I mean, I can
plug in.
It's built into the software. It's in the audio section of Premiere Pro. Now, what part of that is like, because AI stands for artificial intelligence, and most of us, we don't know. I don't know what a carburetor is in a car. I don't know what artificial intelligence is. What does that mean to you? What part of it is being thought of by a computer based on lots of input. That's my sort of understanding.
Well, good point, because that's where I think this confusion with the marketing of AI. I don't know. It's probably an algorithm they came up with, and they said, "Look, everybody's nuts about AI. Let's call it AI."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's a nasty spat with the New York Times because what AI is doing is drawing on data from all of these media outlets, from all of these reporters that have done all of this work for all of these years. Right. And then they're spitting out a product and they're left in the dark.
Right.
People that did all the work. So they've got to set up some guardrails somewhere.
Wait a minute. Okay, can I push back?
Sure.
The people who did all the work got paid for it when they did it, right?
That's true.
So if you read a book by someone and it inspires you to do some work, do you owe the guy that you read the book about?
He's my boss? No. I got the copy for free anyway.
Yeah. There's going to be lawsuits. This is the parts you're talking about, using copyrighted material to create stuff that supplants the market for copyrighted material. It's going to be settled in court. There's going to be some royalties paid, but here's the disappointing part. Only if it's obvious. If it's a brand new piece of work, the fact that you grew up listening to the Beatles and became Ed Sheeran, you don't know the Beatles shit, right? And the fact that you're a computer who grew up listening to Ed Sheeran and every other artist in the history of mankind, and you create something that passes the legal test of original, Sally Chally.
Don't tell me, tell George.
Yes.
She's so fine.
How do you police it, though? You know?
Well, you can't. You can't.
They are.
Well, there will be, so for example, it's going to be negotiated. Like, let me give you a parallel. When Google bought YouTube, what was YouTube?
It was a platform.
It was a pirate ship.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
Everything on YouTube was a copyright violation.
Got ganked, and you had MP3 strippers that took the music out of the video.
Yes.
Every time that went out of date, somebody pop up with a newer version that you could use and you could steal.
So Google bought something that was basically 100% illegal and should not be allowed to exist. How did they make it work?
Advertising.
Later.
Okay.
They negotiate this. These are the pirates. These are the pirates. Okay. They are stealing from Crosby, Stills and Nash ship goes by. They steal it. Okay. They're stealing from everybody. And the rights are owned by a big corporate entity called the music business, major labels. Yeah. And so what did the pirates do? They said, well, we stole all your women. We stole all your music. There's nothing you can really do about it. So you could sue us. That'll take forever. How about if we just give you a little bit of coin every time someone plays it?
Tiny bit of juice.
Like publishing, like radio, basically.
We don't need Taylor Swift. Hell with her.
So basically what YouTube did is they negotiated the rights.
Yeah.
And made it legal and created revenue streams for these dying industries. I believe that.
Was it a stream or a drip?
By the way, can I refer to you as Ed Kelly, or should I call you Dying Industry?
I might be an avatar for all you.
Yeah, I know. But so what's going to happen is they're going to basically create a revenue stream for you. And I know some people who are already doing this. I have a friend. And he's a friend of yours, too, Zip, Harry Jacob.
Oh, I know where you're going with this. That's scary.
What he has done is he's joined an AI company where he has read a ton of stuff in his voice, and they are using it for books on tape and paying him a royalty. What I love about royalty is it sounds like you're the king or the queen. But it's a quarter or 35 cents or something like that. But he's getting
a pittance.
Yeah, but he's happy with it. He's getting paid
better than nothing
for his voice. Would that happen? Would you do that, or are you morally opposed?
Are you addressing me?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was looking at you on the screen, but no one has any way of knowing that.
I came down. There was a navigation system job that came down. Yeah. It was $250,000. Okay. And I was into the final strokes of it. Yeah. And then the powers that were negotiating said, oh, it's $100,000 less because it's no longer exclusive. And I'm like, please, the moment you're associated with one badge or one car name, you are a leper to all of the others. Yes, so you didn't, that $100,000 was just theft. You just went at the poker table. And if you were in Vegas, they would gank you and yank you out into the street.
I totally get that. But that's competition. That's sort of how business works. I mean, Leonard Nimoy would have loved to be on Star Trek, but he was associated with this, on Star Wars, but he was associated with the Star Trek. You know what I mean? That's
the man had no talent, Bob.
That's it. All right. This has got to be a sore spot for you. So I'll move on from.
Oh, wait, it's sore today. Just today. The learning modules were a big part of mine. Yeah. And probably I would think SIPs as well. And now you just punch in the script and pick a person, and they say it and make a video to go with it because it's more interesting. There goes my on-camera career. As far as Detroit goes, as far as industrials go.
It's rough.
I think you should start a newspaper. I think you should start a newspaper. I think that's what the future is. All right. I'm sorry, but at least we're old. Hey, at least we had careers.
I find myself saying that all the time. Well, no, I got
cold comfort. I'll tell you.
No, it's funny. I look at radio and I go, well, at least I'm not starting out now. All right.
Jesus.
What's interesting about this AI discussion is we have literally done a pubic hair size fraction of what AI is going to change.
Which is why Embarrass on YouTube video that's been narrated by AI comes out embarrass.
Yeah.
I literally heard that.
I'm not sure what that means.
No.
It's not there yet. You're saying it's a pube. I'm saying it's
a blonde pube. Did you ever do that when you were Beavis and Butthead age? Sorry.
No, it's not good yet.
So embarrassed. And this lives on the internet forever, by the way, but no one's going to care. With
I'm sending out my resumes. I don't want this popping up in an interview.
Yeah. With NVIDIA, Facebook, Microsoft, and Google, each one of those is pouring billions into AI. And it has nothing to do with what we've been talking about. It has to do with amassing all information about large populations of people and behavior from which to make money in any possible way that it can think of. Facebook stock just went down in one day, 17% or something, because Zuckerberg said,
Bitcoin.
You heard about
Bitcoin went up. Yeah.
Well, Zuckerberg basically said that we just had a blowout quarter. We exceeded expectations, but I'm going to bet the whole company on AI and spend multiple billions of dollars with no revenue stream coming in. How do y'all like that? And Wall Street was like, ah. And then the smart people were like, we'll wait to the dip and then we'll just buy. Because these folks will be able to make predictive models based on hundreds of millions, if not billions of people. And it's going to be absolutely crazy. It's just going to be robots. I was listening to a podcast today about how people have sort of forgotten that self-driving cars are a thing. Like, it doesn't work yet. Elon's doesn't.
Autonomous vehicles, yeah.
But maybe 5 to 10 years away from total dominance.
No, you can get a pizza here in Detroit.
Yes.
With an autonomous vehicle.
And you can ride a robo-taxi in San Francisco.
Right.
Zip. Are we boring you? Because we haven't mentioned Gilligan's Island in a while.
No. I was just thinking when I was in Boston last week.
Or what an asshole Howard Stern is, too. We haven't mentioned that. I tease him brutally.
Call back to some weak material is what that was.
No.
Oh, man.
No, your thoughts.
No, I was thinking back this past weekend. I was in Boston. I almost got picked off by an electric car. I didn't hear it coming. And I thought, holy crap.
They're supposed to put whistles on the fenders.
I sound old, believe me. I am old, quite honestly.
Well, we all are.
Not as old as your camera, but I'm just kidding.
Yeah. You were actually walking in traffic?
Well, I was crossing the street, in the theater district.
Oh, in an electric car? Did you?
No. I mean, I just started to, cross the street, and this guy was coming around the corner. I just didn't hear him. It was just this whirring sort of sound.
Okay.
It wasn't just me. It was the people
were you within the crosswalk during a go signal? During a walk signal?
Are you saying that I was breaking the law at the time this happened?
Breaking the law, I don't know.
Breaking the law.
But I mean, it's not a car's job to avoid you yet. But when they're autonomous, then it is the car's job. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Right now, if you jump out in front of a moving vehicle and it hits you and you didn't have you were jaywalking, look, your family could try and sue. And maybe if you were rich, you could get something, but right, Bob. I'm sorry. I'll tell you.
I would bet dollars to donuts that it probably would have detected him.
Yeah, hopefully it would have. Yes.
So
that's just an observation.
So the high-tech vision of what's going to happen is that Uber and Lyft are going to be attacked because their biggest expense is human beings who drive the cars. Yep. They're going to be attacked by robo-taxis, which is Elon Musk's next big thing. And Google has Waymo, and there's like 6 or 7 other players working on this. And once they statistically are safer than humans,
they are now, I think.
No, I'm sorry.
No.
I would give Elon $100 a month because they lowered the price of the autonomous.
I know
drive.
they had to.
Yeah.
Almost.
I would give him the money if it would drive me around Las Vegas without me being scared to death. I mean, I tell my wife that I am the second worst driver in Las Vegas. She doesn't like that. But no, I wouldn't trust these vehicles. They can do parlor tricks now. And by the way, the genius of Elon is that they're using all of this learning by all of the input by people to continue to develop their algorithm so that they have the lead when it comes to autonomous driving. It's a very complex thing, autonomous driving.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, it's not. It's not like a game of Pac-Man. Do 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 waka 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 waka. It's crazy. I mean, it's hard. But
once the data is there and the algorithms are in place, I would prefer that over human error.
Well, it's not. Error. Yes, and it's not going to be up to you. It's going to be up to insurance companies.
Right.
If insurance companies can make a huge profit on robo-taxis, more than they can make on individual human drivers, they're going to charge you, I love this, for being human. Extra.
Have you been injured by a robo-taxi? I can hear the lie.
There'll be billboards. All right. We're over time. And you know what I think we should do? I think we should promote Chase and make that a separate podcast and have it just come out in a few days, and that way we could leave them wanting
more. Sorry,
more. So let me tell you about and watch for this podcast. It'll be out in a couple of days. Chase McNinch is a comedian musician who was introduced to me by my niece Jody, and she's amazing. She's a killer musician who's played with some big rock stars, even has a story about Steven Tyler. But she also, and she plays 12 instruments. She's trans. And I remember telling you that when I was a kid, I was like, I would like to have a black friend. I didn't know any black people. And I don't have a trans friend, but apparently she's extremely thoughtful and a kind person and not triggered.
Yeah.
The way we are.
What do you mean?
So that'll be an interesting discussion, but let's make that part 2 of this Bob and Zip show with Ed Kelly reunion. And my voice is starting to wear out a little bit. Guys, It has been wonderful.
Always
to
is.
see you guys
I miss you, man.
on the computer screen.
Miss both of you.
Yeah. Zip,
Good seeing you, Eddie. Thank you, man.
Zip,
You too, man.
Zip, I hope I didn't put the choke collar on too tight.
Oh, no, I've got my therapist on speed dial. No worries.
Okay, good.